what he said was expand not arsenal but capability. And I think he's right, because we have been degrading our nuclear capability for the last 8 years resolutely. The Obama administration has done virtually nothing to modernize, and there's a lot of modernization that needs to be done, particularly in the face of the sort of thing that Mr. Putin keeps trumpeting.
Modernize, yeah, because you know how it's going to be portrayed. In a perfect world, we don't want any nuclear weapons. So the left is going to take this and say, here we are trying to get everyone in the world to limit the amount of nuclear weapons we make, and here this guy wants to make more. That's not. That's just a red herring. That's not what he's saying. He's saying we haven't done anything for 8 years, and they have.
Let's give people some details. The ICBMs that we currently have were deployed in the 70s. Yeah. The Ohio-class submarines that we're currently using were supposed to last 30 years. They've been working for 42 years. Right. And the stockpile that we have is the lowest that it's ever been in terms of nuclear weapons.
And people, you got to have people who understand these issues, and a lot of people have retired. It takes a constantly renewing plan to go back and get people to come back while they're in retirement and instruct other people. There's a lot that has to be done.
And in the meantime, the Chinese and the Russians, what are they doing?
Building and modernizing, both increasing numbers and modernizing. Look, survivability is very important. You've got to make sure your forces can't be taken out with the first strike. That takes money. It takes time. It takes effort. And I don't think that there's any commitment to increased numbers in what Donald Trump said. But improved capability, absolutely.
So we just want 21st century technology in these weapons as opposed to 20th century?
I think, yeah. I mean, one of the things that happened to the Russians in the Cold War is that they got sufficiently worried about our improvements in nuclear capability, particularly Star Wars, that they overcommitted themselves to military spending, and it damaged their economy hugely. Their economy more or less collapsed at the end of the Cold War. And their inability to keep up with us in the so-called arms race was one thing that contributed to that collapse.
I'm confused because there was a plan in 2011 to do modernization, and actually the left attacked President Obama for committing money to modernization, billions. Did it not happen finally, or was it given to other?
Very little. It's always been just about to get going.
I see.
They've done a few things, but not many.
You are actually advising the president-elect at this point. What about, and you think the biggest threat is not Russia, but Iran?
Yes.
Still?
I mean, I think over the long term, Iran is a very serious problem because it's the world's leading terrorist state. And also it is governed by an ideology that is not stable.
We don't know at this point whether he's called it the worst deal ever, but he's also said that, you know, maybe you can make it better, and I would certainly watch everything they do a lot closer. Is that what you're advising him to do?
I think this agreement is the worst one the United States has ever signed.
Get out of it completely, or just make it?
I think it's very simple. You submit it to the Senate as a treaty. It was not submitted to the Senate as a treaty, requiring 2/3 of the Senate to approve. It was submitted sort of, kind of, as an executive agreement pursuant to a statute that has not yet been implemented. As far as we know, we don't have the 16 or 17, however many appendices there were, negotiated to the agreement. And the agreement doesn't take effect until those are turned over to the other negotiators.
So there is no deal in your view,
as far as I'm concerned,
on a legal basis, there's no deal.
As far as I'm concerned, there is no deal.
What would be a better deal? What would be a tougher deal? What would be the deal that you would advocate to the president-elect?
Well, I don't think Iran would remotely consider signing a reasonable deal. It is not in their it's not in their quiver to have a reasonable deal. They're all about dominance. They don't care about the substance of the agreement. They'll violate it if they need to. They're about dominance.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.